I would like to invite Sheikh Imran, Nazar, Hosein to give his speech today, inshallah.
Alhamdulillah wa kafa wassalatu wassalamu ala ibadihi alladhina astafa khususan ala afdalihim wa khatamin nabiyyin Muhammadin al-amin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in wa ba'd. Brother Chairman, students, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. One minor correction before we commence. We're not speaking really on the Qur'an and the end of time, but rather the Qur'an and the end time. There's a difference between the two. The end time and the end of time. The end of time is when the world as we know it will come to an end. And that will witness the resurrection. But the end time is the last stage of history, which culminates with the end of history and with the guarantee the truth will prevail over all rivals, regardless of what the Security Council of the United Nations may want to do. How much time will elapse between the end of history and the end of the world, or the end of time? Only Allah knows. So we are not concerned tonight with the end of time. Rather, we are concerned with the end of time. This is also known as the Sa'ah, or the hour, the last hour. And there are many signs by which we would know that we are now living in the last stage of history. These are known as the Alamatu Sa'ah. And the most dramatic of all these signs that were given to us came at the very end of the life of the Prophet sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam. He had performed the last pilgrimage, the Hajj, and he made his way back to Medina. And there were just about 81 days left in his blessed life when two very, very, very important things occurred. Number one, of course, was the last revelation of the Qur'an on the subject of riba. But we're concerned tonight with the second event, and that is when the angel Jibreel alayhi salam appeared in the form of a human being and came into the masjid in front of everybody and asked those 5 questions. The first, the second, and the third form one part, and the fourth and the fifth form the second part. And the first part is integrately linked to the second part. You have to discover that linkage, of course. What is Islam and what is Iman and what is Al-Ihsan? The growth of truth. The growth of truth. From acceptance with the lips to penetration in the heart, to that stage where the heart can now see, but otherwise cannot be seen. So that you now can see with two eyes, the external and the internal. And one of the signs of the last stage is that most people are going to be one-eyed, seeing only with the external eye, and internally blind, like you know who, that gentleman out there with a PhD in deception, Dajjal, Al-Masih al-Dajjal. And this growth, until you reach that stage where you can see with both eyes, and therefore you can access two oceans of knowledge, and try to locate yourself at that spot where you can integrate two oceans of knowledge together harmoniously. Majma'ul Bahrain is necessary for moving to stage 2. Namely, question number 4, when would the last hour come, the Sa'ah? And he replied, sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam, that the one who is being questioned has no more knowledge than the one who is questioning. And then came the last question, what are the signs of the last day? And any one of you who has ever ventured into a place called KLCC would immediately recognize one of them. He said that the naked, barefooted shepherd, none of you here is from Dubai, is it? No. The naked, barefooted shepherds, meaning those who have the intellectual acumen of naked, barefooted shepherds, would compete with each other in the construction of high-rise buildings. So when you see the high-rise buildings, when you see the competition, when you see the acceptance of this measuring rod of progress, that you measure progress on the basis of the height of buildings, you know that you're living in Akhirul Zaman. You don't need spectacles really to see the tall buildings. And when you are living in Akhirul Zaman, if you can see with only one eye, you're lost. You're lost. The only one who can survive Akhirul Zaman, when you see the tall buildings up there in KLCC, are those who have penetrated the truth to such an extent that it has enveloped the heart. And Allah watches the heart. وَعَلَمُوا أَنَّ اللَّهَ يَحُولُ بَيْنَ الْمَرْءِ وَقَلْبِهِ, that Allah hovers between a man and his heart. And that the truth has so penetrated the heart that something called nur enters into the heart. This nur or light is not sold in the stock market, kept only from Allah. We have a very serious gathering here tonight for the chairman. Are they usually so serious at universities? And then came the second sign, which is far more difficult to recognize, that the slave woman will give birth to her mistress. That is around the corner. But one has to